You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cricket Podcast for the end of part one of our IPL preview series before we go on to part two, as I just said. We're going to talk about the Lucknow Super Giants now. I have their shirt, but I am not wearing it, which is very silly of me. So I'm going to pass over to Ross for messages for the listeners and to start introducing the team while I get changed.
Absolutely. So you should sign up to our Patreon, patreon.com/cricketpod. Jack's doing his OnlyFans impression, and you can sign up for his OnlyFans account, no doubt, very, very shortly. Look at him, getting his body out for you there. But the IPL is our best time of the year. We are, without doubt, the best podcast who covers the IPL. So you know what? Sign up and enjoy it. And Jack's finally in the fish, as we've got the fish skin, which is it's an awful kit, isn't it? It's truly awful. I don't know. No, it must be like there's quite a few people who are colourblind in the world. It must be done by a person who's colourblind. That must be it.
Yeah, I designed it. It was me.
What colour do you think it is, Max?
Oh, I don't know. Some sort of grim kind of greeny grey nonsense.
Yeah, well, no, unless I'm colourblind, that is what it is.
Yeah, not too bad. Anyway, let's go with the team. So they are captained by none other than our favourite cricketer, King Legend, who is KL Rahul for the uninitiated. Strengths and weaknesses. They have plenty of options with the bat. Solid opener options, Quinton de Kock, KL, new pickup, Devdutt Padikkal, and last year's surprise flash in the pan, Kyle Mayers. So that gives them a little bit of some different decent options at the top. And then a flexible middle order with, I think, some relatively decent firepower when it comes to kind of having Puran in there, having Stoinis as well. I think overall their squad's actually really quite rounded. It might not have kind of loads and loads of big names, but it's got enough. But because it's only decent, it kind of feels like decent is the ceiling for an awful lot of their squad, which actually prevents them from being a top tier side. But it also means they're always going to be competitive. This is kind of best expressed probably in their pace bowling, because you've got Khan, Mavi, Naveen Ul-Haq, Shamar Joseph, who's been called up as a replacement for Mark Wood, David Willey and Yash Thakur. All of these bowlers are decent. They are decent bowlers. But can you say that any of them are world class? I don't think you can. None of those bowlers are T20 killers, and that's what you need to win the IPL. And then the same goes for their spinners. I know they've got 700-year-old Amit Mishra. He doesn't really play for them, even though he's the leading wicket taker in IPL history or whatever he is. And then Ravi Bishnoi and Krunal, again, talented but not elite. Clear weaknesses. Oh, but he's not. I wouldn't say he's elite though. If you know what I mean, he's fine. Like he's like he's a 6-7 out of 10, and that's okay.
Okay,
but their whole squad is kind of like 6 or 7 out of 10s. Is how I'm kind of seeing it, with the odd KL and kind of Quinton de Kock. Weaknesses. They've got Deepak Hooda, lads.
Oh, sorry, that was the strengths, was it?
That was the strength.
They're fine.
They're fine. That is literally they're fine. The Quinton de Kock is their strength. King Legend is their strength. The rest is they are middle of the road is where they're at. But Hooda can't be any worse than last year, right? He had the worst IPL of all time, I think it's fair to say. And they also have to rely an awful lot on Krunal Pandya. Like, don't get me wrong, like the Pandya brothers are good cricketers, but if you have to rely on Pandya with the bat and the ball in every single game, you're not a great cricket team, and they certainly don't have overs at the death. So, lads, before we come in, the car, I think that they have a bit of flair about them because of the kit. They stand out just a little bit because of that, but they are an unglamorous all-rounder. And therefore, I think they're kind of a family-friendly kind of runaround. The one with 3 seats in the front, the Fiat Multipla. Do you remember that?
Whoa! I thought you were saying Renault Espace.
Yeah, or like a Vauxhall Zafira or Ford Galaxy or something.
But there's a little bit of je ne sais quoi in this team because of Quinton de Kock, and that's why they have 3 seats in the front. So, what do you think? Do you think I'm wrong on this, or me they're boring, but they've got a couple of players in there who who add just a little bit of spice that makes them competitive.
They're definitely boring.
Yeah.
They're one of the most boring teams. They've got quite a boring captain, I'm afraid. You know, IPL is a soap opera. King Legend being cast as one of the main characters, that was a big casting error, I would say. Guy can't act. Guy cannot act. And then they give him the world's most boring storyline as well, which is new franchise in have to play their cricket. Terrible ground in terms of the cricket that's actually produced on an awful wicket. So yeah, turgid and boring are the words that come to mind. You shorn of people like Mark Wood as well. They're just
They've
if they
got
did
Shamar
have any
Joseph,
sex
though.
appeal,
That's exciting.
But we don't know if
One
he's boring,
player,
Max.
Max.
We literally supposed to play like a handful of
Well,
games.
that's
We don't
true,
know if he's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
boring as
that's
well.
true. Yeah, the thing what I would say, I agree with you, Jack. I'm looking at LSG and I'm just like, there's nothing that excites me about it. It just depresses me as a team and a squad. But I do think that part of that is because the last 2 years they have played on absolutely turgid wickets that have been dreadful and made for awful cricket. But they did relay it for the World Cup, didn't they? And it was better. At the Ekana Sports City Stadium, I think is that what that was called.
Yeah, correct.
So it was markedly improved at the World Cup. We actually saw some people bat and score some runs, so it might be a lot better. Whether that helps them or not, I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see if they can actually perform on a slightly better pitch because they've got, like you say, people like Quinton de Kock, who will benefit from
can I say a
actually
nice
being able to
thing?
score runs.
Can I say a nice thing? A lot of love going to Quinton de Kock. I think he's fine. I think he's all right. I think if he wasn't left-handed, he would get the same treatment as King Legend does on this podcast.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah,
not.
I think he's a little bit overrated. But let's not go off into the weeds too much. The player we should be talking about is Nicholas Pooran. Who
Yes,
actually is
absolutely. He
absolute
is
fucking
class.
S tier. That guy,
Yeah.
absolute S tier. That's the one. If there's a reason to watch this team, it's Nicholas Pooran.
Mm-hmm.
And Ross, all the points you make about them being sort of relatively capable and blah 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 blah, they're all true. But you did miss Nicholas Pooran, and he is really good. And I think he's, with the foundation that they've got, he's the kind of player that can, if he has another good season, elevate them just enough to get into the playoffs. So I don't think this is a
And
bad
that's
thing.
the
by any
spooky
stretch.
spice
They're
thing.
boring.
Inexplicably, you also missed Ashton Turner.
Ashton
Right,
Turner
Max,
would
get out.
not play. He's not playing. He's not
Yeah.
playing. Like, let's
Yeah.
be fair.
What's
He's
he
not
talking
playing.
about?
But this is the spoiler. So Pooran is a fantastic player. He's demonstrated that for them last season. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. But he also has the Pooran in him. He had the Sunrisers Hyderabad year, right? Oh no, was it the Punjab Kings year when he had like 9? But there's always there. But he is fantastic. Stoinis. I still don't know if he's a good or bad player, Stoinis, but I really, really like him. And yeah, let's talk about what their 11 will be. I think it's going to be Quinton de Kock opening up. I think Devdutt Padikal opens up. I don't think you trade him in and then kind of come into the similar trap that Rajasthan Royals fell into with him. I think King Legend acts as the fail-safe as number 3. If he's fit, big questions over his fitness as well. Obviously missed the last kind of couple of test matches. Pooran's at 4. Krunal Pandya is 5. Stoinis, Turner maybe in at 6, and then I think Deepak Huda, Badoni are in kind of that bracket, right? They're kind of the impact sub kind of players, I think, in that 5, 6, 7. David Willey, I think, is probably going to get a run out in this team. And then you've got Shivam Mavi, Bishnoi, and then kind of Mohsin Khan or Yash Thakur. And the reason is, like, I just don't think they've got enough batting to not have David Willey play, which is a really shit position to be in, if I'm perfectly honest, because they've got a load of genuine 10 and 11 batsmen who aren't going to do it. And even though they've got King Legend who bats for a little bit of time, etc., I think they probably need someone like that. And Willie's a good bowler, but again, decent but not great.
So we know Shamar Joseph is the call.
And so we'll shout again, but Shamar, I think he might play, but you have no idea if he's going to be a good T20 player or not. Again, it's quite a big kind of risk in that space. So
he might be able to bat. He scores.
I will want to watch that though.
Yeah.
I think this is like Lucknow have to think about brand value for me. They've stunk the place out for 2 years. They've got a captain that is really boring.
It's not a way to ingratiate yourself as a new
Yeah.
franchise, is it? Turn up and just serve
They've
up
got-
the most mind-numbingly bad
Yeah.
cricket.
They've got the bad Pandya. Like, they've got a guy who had the worst IPL season ever. They need some good PR, and I think that is playing Shamar Joseph for all 14 matches to help the world find out whether he's good at T20 cricket.
And Naveen ul Haq is good. I just think like again, who do they not play? Like Quinton de Kock has to play. Puran has to play. There's 2 overseas spots kind of gone.
Mhm.
Do they want to have Stoinis in that lineup? I think they probably need to have Stoinis in that lineup.
Or
So then you've only got,
Probably the
and then
same
then you've only got one other overseas spot. And I think that I don't know how good Shamar Joseph is at kind of
Nobody,
and you
well,
should,
nobody knows. I mean,
yeah, and you should, and you also shouldn't be picking a bowler for how good they are at the batting. But I just think in this case they've just got they've got no runs below kind of 7 at all.
Mhm.
And if KL Rahul doesn't hit runs or Puran doesn't hit runs, or they've still got some decent top order players, but it's just an abyss below it. I think
it's a long tail without David Woolley. Absolutely, I didn't have David Woolley in my 11, but I did note that it tails off very quickly at that point. But well, I should also say that I was 100% joking about Ashton Turner. By the way, 100% he's not playing.
That's not what I heard.
I couldn't even tell you what he looks like. That's how much I don't rate him.
They made the playoffs last year. There's obviously something there. Ross, I think your theory about them being quite having lots of 7 out of 10 cricketers that don't really set the pulse rating is probably true. That probably is why I don't think that they're amazing and that they're a Renault Espace or that car with 3 seats in the front that I don't remember the name of.
Krishna Gautam, you know?
I think
He's
that's
great.
about right. It will get you where you need to go. I suppose if you've got one of those types of cars as well, you've got extra room for more slightly above average cricketers, which is what they're going for, isn't it? Like if you go for the Ferrari approach, you can really only fit 2 or 3 people in a Ferrari, maybe 4 at a push. You get loads
Here,
of Bruno Pandias in.
Yeah,
an
I tell you what, this team could well have been a minibus. I could have just said they're the minibus. that would have been perfectly fine.
What do you reckon they'll do this year?
I think just from a bowling perspective, it just doesn't fill me with that much hope. If I'm perfect, Shamar Joseph has to come in and be unbelievably good, and like there's all the possibility that might be true, but again, we're almost hoping that KL Rahul just tops his I'm going to bat pretty much the full 20 overs. Like it's going to be pretty awful to watch them, but again, I think they're in the hunting pack. I think they're probably number 6, who's probably where I'd probably place them at the moment in my estimations. And I think that it could, again, similar to Gujarat, I think is the way you describe that. Wouldn't be surprised they make it to the playoffs, but actually, if they finish 10th or 9th or 10th, I also wouldn't be that surprised. So it's a bit of a middling team.
Cool. Anything else on Lucknow Super Giants before we wrap up this podcast?
No, I don't think so. I think just let's hope that the pitch is better, because last year, like, it was truly, truly dreadful, and I really hope that Deepak Huda averages more than 8 this year. That'd be nice.
The average first inning score in Ekana last year was 148.
That's pretty bad, isn't it? To be honest, maybe that's why I don't like them, is that they were just playing somewhere where you can't really play cricket. And I don't. We'll probably get loads of comments being like, "Oh, low-scoring thrillers are fun." It's like they're not, though, are they? Come on, let's be honest. Nobody remembers the classic 147 plays 148 for 8. Like, really, people remember Rahul Tewatia hitting Sheldon Cottrell onto a motorway. That's what T20 cricket's all about. That's what the IPL is all about. So. Yeah, hopefully they sort that out. And what more do you want?
if you just a flat line in life, like this is perfect. Like Shivam Mavi, Krishnappa Gautam, Yash Thakur, Mohsin Khan, like these are just literally just like so dreary as
they're the everyman team. Maybe that's what they are. They're India's team. They're the everyman.
Maybe.
I'm trying to come up with something.
So which teams are we covering in part 2?
We will be doing Royal Challengers Bangalore. We will be doing the Kolkata Knight Riders. We'll be doing the Chennai Super Kings. We'll be doing the Punjab Kings, the less good Kings. And oh my goodness, this is
The
Delhi
mighty Delhi Capitals,
the Delhi Capitals. Yeah, flipping heck.
home of the Toilet Museum.
Delhi. And there's some good chat to be had on that. We've got
There is.
Dhoni in Will It Be His Last Season. We've got Dave Warner at Delhi trying to steady a quickly sinking ship. Absolute lottery at Punjab Kings. No idea which direction that will go in. Absolutely no clue. Could be 10th, it could be first, and the greatest season in cricket history. Kolkata Knight Riders, absolutely colossal news today. They lose Jason Roy, massive win, and then they pick up Phil Salt, even bigger win, solves all their problems. They've shot up the power rankings just in that move. So that's absolutely colossal. RCB, they've got 4 players and they're paying them all £85 million each. And then, like, we were joking about the guy on Mumbai's bus who don't ever get a go in the team. Those guys
Just over the car.
fucking...
They're on a donkey on the way there. They are to the ground.
Well, no, but the guys who are complete bus riders for Mumbai, they're playing number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 for RCB. They're actually in the team. So that's absolutely wild. And then there's another one, isn't there? I can't remember who it is. It'll be good though. Make sure you like and subscribe. It's going to be a lot of fun, as these previews always are. And make sure you stick with us through the tournament as well. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.